fifth. One more round. You come too far to back down now. Dig deep, stand tall. No fear, no mercy. This is the grind. This is the moment. Show 'em what you're made of.
Ready to tango for the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event finals here on a thrilling Fast Friday. Hi folks, our Junior Kanky Party joined alongside by Lewis McLean as we dive into 3 thrilling races in front of us with 3 of our drivers headed to a track day at the Hockenheimring in 2026. Yesterday, 6 races split across 2 semi-final groups, and Lewis, we had plenty of fun, but it all sets the field for today's racing, slate wiped clean for all our competitors.
Yeah, we've got 6 R1 competitors that we're taking in the GT3 category. The rest of the field will be in Cup categories with 2 of our influencers, and then the rest of the field made up with community members that, honestly, they were putting on quite a show in yesterday's semi-finals. Excited to see how they get on today. Excited to see how the R1 competitors as well will. Look, we've got a lot of good drivers out there on the grid. 3 different circuits as well. I'm sure we're in for a bit of a thrill ride today.
So we had plenty of fun at Spa, Monza and the Hockenheimring yesterday. It's where we'll visit again today. If you're just joining us and didn't see any of the action yesterday, let's walk you through some of the names that are going to be competing here today. Like we said, we've whittled down the field in about half. Our R1 drivers in the GT3 cars, Dara McCormack in an Aston Martin, the trio of Mao's BMWs, Moritz Lohner, Max Benneker, and then Dennis Schoeniger, while David Sobrero will be in a Mercedes for TC Esports, and Kevin Ellis Jr. also in an Aston Martin for Virtus Pro. As Lewis mentioned, just 2 creators, Kaya Ungemeyer and Ray PXH, going to be battling out between the 2 of them, and then Lewis, the community field, one where I think there's lots of unknowns for us heading into the night.
Yeah, there's a few drivers to really keep an eye on, especially some of those that were in semi-final 1. Obviously, the top 3 on there, Maximilian Den, Nico Nuninghoff, and Cody Nikolakowski, definitely ones to keep an eye on. We did see some good speed out of the likes of Mantis, Martino. We saw Soprich have some good speed, but out as well. We've got a good field there in that community. And it's hard to pick who's going to be the favourite. I'd say my gut instinct leans towards a Nico Nuninghoff, but one problem he had yesterday was qualifying. Did not get many good qualifying runs onto the board, and in doing so had to work his way through the order. That was fine yesterday to get into the top half of the field and get into today's action. When racing across these 3 circuits, if you're wanting to be the top driver in that field, you have to qualify well.
Spa and the Hockenheimring were fairly action-packed, but I think it's fair to say Monza slightly a bit more tame compared to traditional expectations, as we get set for hopefully a bit more intensity tonight. And again, just a reminder that the winner in each of our categories will win a track day to the Hockenheimring. So only fitting that it will round out the competition tonight as we take a look at a sunbathed Spa-Francorchamps. That is Kevin Ellis Jr. How do you know that? Well, because I've just got word Dara McCormack's clicked the wrong button and joined in the wrong car, Lewis.
Very curious to see what car he's actually in. Do you reckon it might be no, I've clicked the wrong button? He's actually joined the BMW, which yesterday was pretty capable in the hands of Moritz Lerner and his teammate Dennis Schuniger, who in the R1 category specifically, those two might be two to keep an eye on. Max Benneker we didn't see too much of yesterday, and they're still here racing today. So we've got 3 Mouse drivers out there. Very curious to see how they get on. David Cabrera, the TC Esports driver as well, was absolutely fantastic on speed, especially around here, going on to win in semi-final 2. Very curious to see if he can keep that speed up against the Mouse trio and Virtus Pro duo.
Because again, we saw the drivers split into 2 groups. We saw some fighting, so we got a comparison between Cabrera and Dennis Schoniger as an example, but a little bit harder to compare to Moritz Lerner to Max Benneker, as continuing to wind around in practice for the time being. Of course, RENNSPORT recently released, and so that's one of the talking points, Lewis, the fact that available on the Xbox Store, the PlayStation Store, and Steam, and the Epic Game Store on PC. We do have some competitors racing on console. Now, question is, controller or wheel? It doesn't really matter which. You can be fast no matter what.
Yeah, I get the vibe that pretty much everyone in this will be racing on a wheel, but of course we do suspect that quite a lot of the drivers out there in the sim racing world that will be watching this, maybe wanting to take part, maybe jumping into RENNSPORT for the first time, you might be taking part on controller. Perfectly acceptable. You can get up to speed using it. Might be hard to take on some of the R1 competitors using it, but you can get a good eye in for sim racing and start focusing on maybe getting into the world of sim racing, moving your way forward. We know the R1 competitors, all of the R1 competitors will be racing on PC. That's just well known. They all race on PC all year. Sim racing is, generally speaking, more PC based. If you look in that cut category, we do have a majority of the field on PC. Again, that is not a shock because sim racing is more PC focused. But this expansion out onto the consoles, we do have a few PlayStation drivers out there. We do have an Xbox driver or 2 out there as well. And I think that is great to see. That's something that I'd like to see more and more of in the future. Delve into that community and find some talents that we've never heard of that could be some of the fastest in sim racing.
That was one of the things as part of the R1 coverage that we did have on occasion, right, was the support series. And so you and I, we also commentated on the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Deutschland. We've seen the rise of more newcomers, if you will, to the competitive side of this competition. Let's get ready to go, though, for qualifying. We'll throw drivers around the track with just one hot lap, which is always the pressure cooker of a situation, and track limits is what caught out a couple of our competitors yesterday. And here at Spa, 7 kilometers, plenty of corners and plenty of opportunities to make that slip up with the track limits.
Yeah, now obviously we've said that there's 3 categories out there on the circuit. We do have our R1 drivers. Those are in the GT3 category. You can tell by all their team logos that we had in the R1 competition earlier on in the year. So you've got the 3 drivers with the mouse logos, Moritz Lerner, Dennis Schoniger and Max Benneker. We've got the 2 in the Virtus Pros of Darren McCormack and Kevin Ellis Jr. and the lone TC Esports driver of David Cabrera. Those in the Cup category, you'll notice that most of them, all but 2 in fact, have the RENNSPORT R logo. Now, what that means is they're a part of the community category. That's what they're fighting for. There are 2 drivers that have their influencer logos, and you'll be shocked to hear that those are the 2 influencers that we have racing that will be doing battle between themselves, of which I will say Angermeyer was absolutely fantastic on speed yesterday. I get the feeling he might be pretty hard to beat, but Ray's got some speed, so you never know.
Yeah, Angermeyer was fighting at the front of the second group. Ray didn't do all the races in the first group and ended up fighting his way forward on the back of 2 decent results. There is Kevin Ellis Jr. beginning to climb up the hill, cresting over the top of Radion, and Now you continue to climb, and there's not much you can do except breathe and just look forward until you spot your braking marker in towards Les Combes at the very top of the track. And this is where, Lewis, you're always a little bit sketching on the ice as you try and open up the entry into the corner, maximize track limits, and then sweep it out through Mound with the quick hands from Ellis Jr. to hang on.
Yeah, now the highest point of the track is behind us. We start running down the hill, once again using the curb out there on the left-hand side as we go into the long right-hander at Rivage, waiting to get onto the power. The car feels so lethargic as you go downhill. If it was going uphill, you'd be on the throttle so early. Because you're going downhill, as soon as you touch that throttle pedal, the rear end gets pushed away from the apex as we now use that curb on the right-hand side into Pouhon, get to that apex, just drop it down, I think even just the one gear, back up straight into fifth, sixth gear. Now they work down into Fagnes, a tricky right-left, quite fun one, but it's so fast-centric. If you miscalculate it ever so slightly, you get pushed out wide. The car just doesn't get down into the apex of the corner.
And what we're seeing is modern-day GT3 racing, so much downforce and grip, it looks a bit like a, well, I was going to say video game. It is a video game right now as we sweep our way up towards Blanchimont. But just the speed they can carry compared to 10 years ago with these GT3 cars, it is remarkable. About 3/10 or so off the mark right now for Ellis Jr. in the highest speed corner of the track. It's not even a big stress anymore, especially when you run by yourself. Now on the brakes, down through the gears, and watch the line being taken here. They're always trying to get up to the right-hand side. He clips that curb a bit too much, though, and unsettles the car and pushes him even wider. Breaks the timing being with a 2:16.637. It's another 10th lost in sector number 3, and no surprise to see BMWs for Maus. 1, 2, and 3, Moritz Lohner leading the way.
All three of those GT3 competitors, though, are pretty close, all within half a second, basically, from Lerner to Sparrow, but it's 3 Mouse cars, then 2 Virtus Pro, and then the sole TC Sports driver. Martino up towards the line. Let's see if there's going to be any major lap times set here. Not great from Mantino, and it is going to be Tim Schroeder at the top. The pole position effectively in our influencer category goes the way of Ray, ahead of Angermeyer, which is actually a bit of a surprise. Shows maybe Angermeyer's not got the speed. Nuninghoff up onto the overall pole. And Code Nikolakowski into second. Maximilian Den, who I think was on pole here yesterday in the category, I'm up there in third position as well. And all of those were separated by a 10th of a second.
Yeah, the front 3 covered by the blink of an eye. It's a bit further a gap back to Oscar Soprich, to Tim Schroeder. Although they were very quick yesterday, yes, it's not a surprise to see them towards the front. Let's see how they can roll away from a standing start, climb up to La Source, pitch down the hill, and then run towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Another 3 minutes or so of practice, Lewis, for these drivers to get themselves locked in for the race. And clearly what we have seen, Maus in their BMWs looking very strong in the GT3s. Team orders. We always say rule number 1 of racing, don't hit your teammate. But how do they battle it between the 3 of them?
There is no team orders in this, that I can tell you. I'm sure Rene, the team boss, will be sat back going, just have at it, boys. Just put on a good show and win. That's all we asked for. But like I say, very curious to see how that one's going to unfold.
Let's look at our results. I mean, much like in the Cup class, the front 3 covered by just about a 10th of a second, and then Ellis Jr., Dara McCormack, and David Sobrero. 3 thousandths between McCormack and Sobrero. I mean, nothing between them.
Behind in the Cup category, though, it'll be Nico Nuninghoff on pole position. It does say that it's by quite a margin because we have lost a couple of drivers from this list, because it should have been Code Nikolakowski directly behind, along with Maximilian Den, but they're missing from this list. So it's Tim Schroeder, then Ray PXH, then K. Angermeyer, and of course Brodigan, then Jeremy Pax, who is racing on the PlayStation. A trio of PlayStation racers in Diasta and Spice as well. Mantis Martino, we saw across the line on the Xbox. Alex Pake in 10th position with Andre Sauer, and then of course Merwin Bernauda down in 12th position. The others may not have had a legal lap time across the board, and so Code Nikola Latkowski and Maximilian Dent 15th and 17th, along with Kimi Happler, who I believe is racing in a one of the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland liveries. Certainly was yesterday, along with Max Lukashevich, who was pretty impressive yesterday, and Oscar Soprich, who you quite rightly pointed out has got some solid speed.
But our results maybe not reflecting that speed, so we'll see how they end up lining up. Once again, multi-class practice sessions going on. The GT3 cars will start in front of the Cup cars. However, as Jack Keithley found out yesterday, had an issue on the start, dropped back and had to find his way forward through the Cup cars. Rocket ships in a straight line, and I mean, lap time differences, we're only talking a couple of seconds between them here, Lewis.
Yeah, of course, the race that you're alluding to there was around the Temple of Speed at Monza, where there's a lot of straights, and those Cup cars can be so frustrating around there. Around here, you've got a little bit more opportunity in that midpoint of the circuit if you were to drop back into them. We are being told that Darren McCormack, because he is in the wrong car, I don't believe he'll be eligible for points in this race, and if those Mouse drivers are as fast as they are, I suspect that might mean that it's over basically before it started.
Well, that makes it simpler somewhat, as we grab a look at, I think, super slow-mo shots of the Mouse machines crossing the start-finish line on the run-up to turn one. Lewis, as you took delight in mentioning yesterday, you've been to Spa, haven't you?
I have. Sadly, I met George Morgan there, but that's fine. You have a question about that?
No, just George catching shots and he's not even here.
That's fine. I keep seeing him running on Instagram. I'm bored of seeing it. So let's just start taking the mic, to be honest. No, of course. Look, it's a great track. I went for the 24 Hours of Spa a couple of years ago. Really fun, really enjoyable event. Great to see some of the sim racing community out in action. Great to see them out in action in this one. Can confirm Darren McCormack has nicked one of the BMW M4s as well. Look at him. Big
brain call there from Darren McCormack. Let's see what he can do then to challenge, although still slower than his teammate in the right car. So, little inter-team rivalry there, I'm sure. As we just wait for, is it Max Benecke, as seemingly the rest of the cars have already gridded up. So one of the Mouse trio not on the grid as we get ready to go for the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event final races. First of three here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps is underway. Great jump from Moritz Lohner. It's Dennis Schoniger, excuse me, who is missing in action.
Whoa.
Big send from Darren McCormack up the inside of Benecke. They're leaning on each other as they begin to plunge down the hill. Meanwhile, Nico Nuninghoff leads as one of the Porsche Cup cars spins around at the tail end of the field. But flying down to Eau Rouge they go for the first time.
And side by side between Darren McCormack and Max Benecke. Might be handing this one to Moritz Lohner straight away, but he could also be opening up the door for his teammate to come through. That BMW without the livery on, and of course that Aston Martin. Those two are teammates. Now David Cabrera is coming into the mix. Now Nico Nuninghoff is coming into the mix as well in the Porsche there on the left-hand side of your screen. He's not even battling for this, but he doesn't want to get held up by them.
Wow, that shows the speed in a straight line, but now the grip through the corners will develop. Benecke goes from second to fifth, and that's the aggression, although mistaken a bobble and around the outside. Now defensive from Ellis Jr. as Benecke suddenly back up into second. What's happened to Moritz Lohner? You are quite correct.
Yeah, what has happened to Moritz Lohner, our race leader? He's no longer in the lead of this race, and he's gone missing, apparently. A potential technical issue for Moritz Lohner, drops into fifth in the category, hands over the race lead to Darren McCormack, who we think might not be eligible for points courtesy of joining in the wrong car. And so we've got effectively a three-car fight for second that could be the race lead, and it's all getting a little bit mental. What we do know, at least in the Cup category, is that Nico Nuninghoff is under a lot of pressure from Cody Nikola Latkowski, and I do suspect throughout the racing this evening that it might well be those two that we see time and time again in that Cup category battling over position number one.
And at least they've got different looking cars this time. Makes our job that little bit easier. Remember, Darren McCormack not eligible for points in this first race. He's meant to be racing in an Aston Martin, but instead he's picked the BMW and he's using it to good effect at the front of the field. Now almost 1 second clear. His teammate Kevin Ellis Jr. in that white and black distress looking Virtus Pro Aston Martin, jinx to the inside, and will cut down low on Max Benecke. Remember, fighting for a track day at the Hockenheimring. Meanwhile, send for third as Maximilian Den tries to pass Oscar Soprich, but Nico Nuninghoff's going to lead at the end of lap number one. But you are right, Lewis, the pressure is building.
Yeah, also we've got Ray and Kaya Angermeyer behind Schroeder here, who we're having a good look at. Those two are battling for the lead, of course, of the influencers, but also for extra positions here in the Cup category, although you are battling all within your own category. The top two have checked away. The battle for third is seemingly growing larger and larger and larger as each lap goes on. And by each lap, I mean the single one that we've completed. It is a very large battle pack here from third on back, and that is a costly mistake potentially from Oscar Soprich, although clearly proving that if you have a bit of a moment through Radion, just keep your foot in it, it'll be all right.
Simple. We were talking about that, I think yesterday at some point when we were talking about how simple this track has become. Now that is a car taking a bit of a shortcut, and this is all allowing Nuninghoff to break away with just one in tow. Back down towards Bruxelles. And realistically here, Lewis, if you are sitting in second, you wait till the final lap. You've got plenty of opportunities at Spa to use the draft to make a move.
Yeah, obviously the main one is the one into Les Combes, but you are right, you have plenty of chances around here. Any mistakes through the middle section, there's a position opened up, a bit of a late dive into the final chicane. Although the awkward thing sometimes with leaving it late is as much as there's a lot of easy moves to be had around the circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, one other thing is it is relatively easy to defend some of those chances. Les Combes, you take the inside line, sometimes you can just take the outside line and allow them the inside line, and you can hold firm around the outside. The final chicane is super easy to defend into, relatively speaking, because you defend on the inside, send it in a little bit deep, and generally speaking, you're almost impossible to pass.
Yes. It's only a few heavy braking zones, and unless you're right alongside, it can be difficult to really make them useful overtaking opportunities. Slightly different, of course, at Blanchimont for these machines, in that they need to brake, unlike the GT3s, which can just turn in and trust the downforce. But Nicola not close enough as they run off the track. Now, Nico Nuninghoff done that on a number of occasions, Lewis. I have been keeping an eye on that. He is feeling the heat from behind.
I cannot remember who it was who around here did have a drive. Oh, it was Darren McCormack, wasn't it? Had a drive-through penalty during the race yesterday. I'm not sure if that was for track limit excursions, but definitely returned into the pit lane for some issue. So we'll have to wait and see if that might befall any other driver around this circuit. I mean, it is one that you do have a few occasions around the circuit where you do breathe quite close to the limit of the circuit. Obviously, Rouge and Radion being one of them, exit at Blanchimont being another one, exit at the final chicane. You can run out wide if you have a bit of a tank slapper on the exit by putting the throttle pedal too low. Through here at Les Combes, very easy to skip off the circuit. As much as there is a gravel trap there now, but obviously it used to be the exit of No Name, you could tend to run out wide closer to the barrier. Thankfully here with the modern scan of Spa, it's not quite as easy to abuse that one around here. As you can see on the right hand side, there is a gravel trap there. You cannot run it out to the tyre barrier, but you can still push it over the white line. I once saw BS Competition's very own Jonas Raivio. You see that, you know, going down to Pilon, right, you've got that green bit of it goes race circuit, white line, grass, and then like the green concrete, right?
Yes.
So there's a clip of him in a BMW M8, which, if you don't know what it is, it's massive. He had two wheels on the racetrack and then two wheels on that green tarmac, so that he opened the corner already before he got into Pilon. Stupidest thing I've ever seen. Loved it.
That was a bit of a bobble for a moment there in second spot, but didn't lose too much ground. To feel as though Cody's got the speed, just waiting and not being too aggressive to force his way forward. David Sobrero has forced his way to second in the GT3 class, which, let's not forget, Lewis, does mean technically he will get maximum points from this particular race. And Max Benneker, Ellis Jr., their fight now for second in the points.
Yeah, I don't think race control are going to be kind on Darren McCormack. Said, no, it's a brilliant drive from you, we'll just give you the points anyway. I don't think that's actually going to happen. So yes, what we're seeing there in the GT3 category will all but certainly become the battle for the race lead once we get it confirmed from race control. We basically do have it confirmed from race control, but it's kind of one of those ones of they're just going to wait until the end of the race and then effectively deal with it, and then we'll give you the update as to how it's all unfolding there. But Sobrero, regardless, is in position to pick up a few solid points, but I think that might well switch now because I look to the inside, we'll see Max Bennick ahead once again into second position. Regardless of McCormack's pace, they are closing in a little bit on the Irishman, so they might be battling for the race lead, and normally anyway, as the Cup lead is certainly under pressure.
Although I think through Les Combes, it's just a half-hearted look, a little bit of a shove as they then heading towards Malmedy. A bit more of a contact made on the bottom of the picture as Ellis Jr. and David Sobrero, argy-bargy down through Bruxelles. Now, that fight for the Cup lead, it's not brought Max Den and Oscar Sopridge into striking distance just yet, but that is a danger now as we are halfway through this first of the 3 races in the final. Next up, the Temple of Speed, and then a trip to the Hockenheimring. It's only fitting that with the prize being a track day at the famed Hockenheimring, it should settle things here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm normally a little bit critical of the racing around the Hockenheimring. I'm normally pretty behind it, saying it's a little bit dull. It's not like that. It's not normally the best for wheel-to-wheel combat. See that a few times in R1 where you're building up to what should be a really exciting race and then nothing really happens. And I will say, for the GT3 category yesterday, both times we raced Hockenheimring, they were pretty flat. They weren't that interesting. The Cup category, however, very much not that case. The Cup races, both of them, were absolute epics back at the Hockenheimring yesterday. So it's one of those ones where I'm looking at it being like, I'm still sat there thinking, I'm not sure it's going to be epic. I feel now we've had 2 good races around there, it might not be that great. But then I'm like, looking at it being like, yeah, but it was so good yesterday. There's no reason why it wouldn't be great. We're having a great race to start us here in the Cup category at Spa, so why not?
Our creators are having a good race as well, by the way, so let's not discount their battle. It's just 2, Ray and Kaya Angermeyer, but the 2 of them fighting for that track day. That fight on the bottom of your screen, and they are fighting tooth and nail. Meanwhile, contact into turn 1 as Nico Nuninghoff just opens up the entry into the corner, prevents Cody Nicola from being able to sweep his way on through, and Ray feels the pressure, tries to get to the inside of another one of the Cup cars as Kaya Angermeyer sits behind and now tries to get the best draft heading on to the Kemmel Straight.
Wonder if you can win some bonus points with Porsche here, and I wonder if you can remember the colour, because obviously we had, when we did Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland, all of the colours they all have official names. And I cannot remember, because Nico Nuninghoff, I'm pretty sure, was in that colour. I'm pretty sure that was the colour that he was racing in most of the rounds of Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. I wonder what that colour name was. I'm pretty sure I don't have it written down.
That is a challenge I will take by the end of the day. We'll see if I can figure it out.
I'm going to see if I got it written down.
If you've got it written down, I mean, your spreadsheets are known for their depth. Max Den is close, though. They'll have 2 laps to go next time by. I'm going to call it just the highlighter yellow for the time being. It's definitely not speed yellow. It's...
Are you sure it wasn't speed yellow?
No, because speed yellow is a lot more... This is like highlighter yellow. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's more
right.
like
speed yellow is proper yellow. So it's definitely not speed yellow, but it's a great question, Lewis. I love where your mind is going. We love talking color. Remember, 2 laps to go at the line. I think Max Den's got a chance here, you know. I don't think you can count him out, because every time Cody Nicola looks for it, Nico Nuninghoff covers it off and costs them a little bit more time.
Almost thought I found the rule book for Porsche Carrera Cup. Well, no, I found the link where the rule book was, but it's not active anymore. So I was hoping for that one. Alas, no. I've never been more determined during a broadcast over the penultimate and final laps of this race to try and find out what the colour name was. For Nico Nuninghoff, it doesn't matter too much because that was way too deep going down into the final chicane. And the more they are fighting, the big flashes coming in from Maximilian Den from behind. They are going to get some serious company very soon.
Now, I will speculate it might be acid green, as Ray, he was feeling the pressure, and he might just have broken, and Kaya Angermeyer has slipped on through all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you say? It was speed?
Acid green.
Acid green. Oh, it could be. It could be. Honestly, so I've looked. I definitely do not have the... I do not have it. I've got hilariously, I have all of the results from the 2021 championships on iRace, but that ain't the one we're looking for. No, we'll find out. That's answers on a postcard as to what that colour is. But we'll come back to that later. Either way, a three-way fight for the race lead in the GT3. Kevin Lewis Jr. has dropped off the rear end of this. We do have Darren McCormack there not scoring points. We've got Max Benneker directly behind, and David Sparrow who's gone with him.
I can confirm, by the way, because I've got the rulebook. Acid green. Now I don't know.
Acid green.
I don't know if that's what Nico was assigned to, but I'm gonna guess I was right. So,
yeah,
a lap and a half to go. Darren McCormack's been caught in the GT3 class, so Max Benneker is on course for max points, but Sobrero has a chance to slingshot and get the double slingshot as well, because the toe builds up, it gets even more powerful. Final lap of this race, it could be elbows out, argy-bargy stuff.
What was the other green called? Was it just like forest green or something?
There was Viper green, mint green, mauve grey, Irish green. There was a lot.
What was the brown one? There was a brown one.
No, brown was my car, remember? I had the mahogany metallic.
Mahogany metallics. No comments on your car, mate. Either way, we've got side-by-side for races coming up towards Blanchimont. We've got to look to the inside from Cody Nikolakowski. He put on a fantastic move at Hockenheimring to take over the race lead from, I think it was Maximilian Den there. He's trying to do the same thing. Nico Ninninghoff, well, you'll be pulling your hair out of that track.
Cheeky.
Excursions coming in from Nico Ninninghoff.
Cheeky, to say the least, but guess what, Lewis? Three-way fight. Max Den's used all of this to his advantage. And like I was saying, with draft further up through the field for the GT3 cars, it will be the same for these Porsche Cup cars as they head into the final 7 kilometers here at Spa.
Half a second of a race lead as well for Benneker over David Sobrero in the GT3 category. They've both been able to get past Darren McCormack, and they're all going to do battle, I'm sure, between them, with McCormack getting back through. But we cannot take our eyes off of this fight for the race lead. As there is a spin for Sobrero! He's gone off the road. He'll be dropping down to the 3rd position, or 4th position in the category. It will become 3rd after McCormack, and we believe will drop down. For the rest of the field, though, look at this in the Cup category. Here comes a move from Maximilian Den.
And crucially, look at the advantage that Ninninghoff was able to gather onto the Camel. He feeds a bit of draft to Maximilian Den on the outside, and they will be door handle to door handle as they switch their way through the corner. Lots of confidence on the side of Cody Nicola, who holds on to that 2nd position. But has Nico Ninninghoff done enough to hold on to the lead? Max Benneker with a 1.2 second gap at the front of the GT3 class might be comfortable as well.
The only concern in this Cup category for Nico Ninninghoff at the moment will be, can he qualify at both Hockenheimring and Monza? Of course, Monza the next round, Hockenheimring after that, to secure this, because that was the bit that let him down yesterday. And I get the feeling that if he does qualify badly, either Cody Nikolakowski or Maximilian Den will be there to pick up the pieces, and if they're all qualifying well, this will be your 3-way fight all the way to the end of the day. This is what happened to Sobrero, who's battling with McCormack.
Well, you know, that's a bit naughty, if you ask me. Neither of them makes the corner, and poor David's the one that comes out on the wrong side of it. And so as Max Benneker sweeps out of the final corner, he's been put through the ringer today, but we are in for a fight in this GT3 class. He wins the first of 3 races here in the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event. Darren McCormack 2nd on the road will score no points. Ellis Jr. and Sobrero tuck in behind. And, well, Ninninghoff not quite clear, Lewis. One more chance for Cody Nikolakowski.
Yeah, he'll have a look to the outside. The defensive line from Ninninghoff. The big flash is coming in from Maximilian Den. Nearly a look back to the inside for the Macedonian. Just a touch to the rear end of Nico Ninninghoff's car. He'll leave the final corner to take victory here at Spa, but a thrilling 3-way fight. Ninninghoff, Latkowski and Den 1, 2 and 3 in that category. All of them separated by less than half of a second. This is going to be a great night for fighting in the Cup category.
And what, 9 seconds back, so even with that fighting, Lewis, what they were able to do is really put the field behind on notice. Kaya Angelmeyer takes advantage of that slip-up from Ray. He wins the creator battle as we take a look at our race results. A DNF, unfortunately, for Moritz Lohner, who's got some work to do to bounce back from that one. 2 more races still left to come.
Yeah, we'll obviously see. These results, they are provisional, and like I say, we do believe that McCormack will not be eligible for points after joining in the wrong car, so he'll drop backwards in the Cup category. Ninninghoff, Latkowski, or Cody Nikolakowski there, 2nd position, and Maximilian Den in 3rd position. Tim Schroeder, Oscar Soprich. Kaya Angermeyer was the lead then of our influencer battle just ahead of Ray. But those two separated by less than a second as well, so maybe there's going to be a good fight between those. 6th and 7th overall in the Cup category. Kimi Happler, Mantis Patino, then we've got Bruniger, Sarah and Pake. I would expect Enrico Bruniger to get better, especially at the Hockenheimring, where he did have some decent speed yesterday. Lukashevich, Diasta, Pack, then of course Spies and Bernauda, a retirement from the race. 2 retirements in Moritz Lerner and Merwin Bernauda, but excitement either way for us here in the booth.
Pretty good first race of 3. Monza next, Hockenheim to close things off, and Lewis just to complete the loop. Speed yellow, Riviera blue, Viper green, mint green, gold metallic, voodoo blue, mode grey, amethyst metallic, chalk white, acid green, ruby star, and Irish green. Those were the 12 colours of Porsche that we had in the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Deutschland.
Yeah, and I remember voodoo blue, it was quite a light blue if I remember correctly. Amethyst metallic was sick.
Yeah,
I remember that. I don't remember who was in it. I don't remember what colour Max Benneker had to go on to win. I wonder if you can go on, see if that's in the rule book.
I don't think it's in the rule book.
I can't remember what colour he was in.
No, I've got no idea now.
I remember still fair amounts from that. Yeah, I don't know, you're not going to find it in the rule book. He did come into it basically topping everything and winning basically everything. And we saw some flash of speed from the likes of Nico Nunninhoff, running in that livery here. Cracking driver and, like I say, great fight there for the race lead. Here we go. What is it?
Shout out to Dane Baird, who's found it for us. Max Benneker was in the speed yellow Porsche Cup car. Yeah, as someone in chat, by the way, did say, speed yellow stopped being used apparently all the way back in 2012. That's a long time ago now.
Well, we used it 2 years ago in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. So as much as some things may be ended in real life, we can keep them going here in sim racing. So tough. That's all I say to that one.
Do you want to know who was in? Do you have any other questions, Lewis? I've got the whole list in front of me. Like Yuri Toman, he was in the chalk white. Christopher Dambitz was in the amethyst metallic. Enzo Benito had Viper green. Moritz Lohner had the mint green. So, you know, we had all sorts of fun colours going on there.
Too many greens, but that's fine. Did Dane send you that as well? He's the one who sent you that?
Yeah, shout out Dane.
Yeah, shout out to Dane Baird. Didn't send it to me, though. So, no shout out to Dane Baird, actually.
It might have been because I explicitly told him not to send it to you, but...
Yeah, but the fact that he listened to you on that one is actually very disappointing. We are not going to be playing around the PGA 2K25 after this. It's fine.
He knows who he can trust better. Anyway, let's talk about race 2, Lewis, because we did kind of say this when we got today's final underway. Yesterday, the races at Monza, I don't want to say were tame, because that's never a word that is associated with the Temple of Speed, but it definitely wasn't as action-packed as kind of what we've just seen at Spa-Francorchamps. It was a lot more of a race defined by, well, struggle at the start and then fight back from there.
Yeah, they were a bit lighter on the action. Yesterday's racing, the standout, I think, was Hockenheimring. Both Cup races were 15 out of 10, absolutely fantastic. The Monza races were a little flat. They were a little, just they existed. They were fine. And do you know what? I don't think that's too bad, because that's kind of what you want, I think, from the middle race of an evening. You do the first race where everything's a bit exciting. You do the middle race. It's okay to calm things down a little bit, because then you build things up. If you had 2 mental races and a calm race to end on, that's not the right vibe there, Arjuna. You've got to end on a mental one.
Yeah. Yes, and to be fair, Hockenheimring delivered plenty of action yesterday, including that tight, twisty final stadium section where, for those that watch plenty of real-world motorsports, of course, Ian Guven made what was undoubtedly one of the moves of the year to win the 2025 DTM Championship, and would not be surprised if we see similar moves. We saw a great move around the outside of that Sachs curve yesterday. We'll see if anyone can replicate that, but for the here and now, this is the opening corner where We talked about it plenty, but Moritz Lohner, he's got experience of, as Miley Cyrus would describe, coming in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, indeed, doing his very best Liuzzi impression. That was, to be fair though, this is the concerning bit, Arjuna, is that was over 2.5 years ago.
Disgusting.
Not the Liuzzi thing, that was 14.5 years ago. Isn't that terrifying?
There are sim racers who weren't alive when that Liuzzi thing happened.
Oh. Ugh.
I know.
Don't. Wait,
It's
that
not-
means there's that means, yes, there are people in sim racing who have lived their entire life with DRS in Formula 1. Isn't that mental?
What a wild
God, we're
world
old.
next year will be for them, especially when they start looking at active aero and all the fun stuff that will come to the Formula 1 world next year. There's a look at the gravel runoff, I believe, on the exit of one of the Lesmos. Is it Curva Grande?
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's Curva Grande, mate. I don't know. I don't think the Jamil Motorsport boards are on the exit of the Lesmos.
No, you're
pretty
right.
sure that yeah, they're not. Yeah, I'm always right, Arjuna. That's one thing about me that you have to just accept, that when it comes to those bits.
Well, you're very good at the game that we do like to play sometimes, which is here's a picture of a track zoomed in quite a lot. Guess where it is?
Yeah.
I will give you that, but to say that you're right all the time, well, factually incorrect. Right there. This is a shot of the exit of the Lesmos. Plenty of gravel, of course, to arrest your momentum. It is rather narrow and tight at this point of the track. That hot air balloon's rather low in the sky. Doesn't have a great view of the action around the track, I would say.
No, I think it's good. Well, it's got a decent view of
Lesmo 2, and that's about it.
Yeah, the exit of Lesmo 1 and then Lesmo 2. And to be fair, from there, you would probably see the run into the parabolic. Do you know what it's flying over? Here we go. Here's a fun fact for you, Arjuna. Do you know what
What's
that
it
airplane's flying over? Golf course.
Let's get in there. I've already been mapping out my schedule for next year, 2026 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, finding golf courses that I'm going to hit up along the way. Problem is, Lewis, Road America in particular, there's about like 5 good golf courses there. I don't have time to play 5 rounds of golf.
Spend a week. Take pull a couple of sickies, and off you go. Knock them all down. You're all right. No, practice is about ready to get going, of course, here at the Temple of Speed. And then we'll jump into, once again, a Super Pole qualifying. So they only get 5 minutes of on-track action. As much as that feels like it's not too much, a lot of these drivers have done an awful lot of laps around the 3 circuits that we race this evening, and they're pretty good at just jumping in, jumping out, getting straight up to speed. So I don't think that's going to be a major thing holding anyone back from setting some majorly impressive lap times.
So we have 5 full minutes of this practice as well, which means there's a dangerous chance that Lewis and myself go back off on the conversation of golf. But I guess whenever you talk about Monza, Lewis, the thing that you always talk about is the ability to ride over some of the curbs. I mean, just looking there through Ascari for a moment, you saw just how aggressive Sauer was in running off track and hitting those anti-cut curbs on either side.
Yeah, it's same as with basically any circuit in the world. The curbs aren't consistent. They are different pretty much everyone you go near, and much like with a lot of circuits, you have to know which curbs you can abuse. Nice one from David Sabrera there, and which ones you cannot. And there are certain. It's really kicking off back there, isn't it? There are certain, even with the sausage curbs, there are certain ones of those that almost help the car rotate round, and other ones which cause massive problems if you go anywhere near. So you've got to be pretty knowledgeable. If you want to get pretty fast around circuits, you've got to be very knowledgeable about which circuits you can hit. Ascari is a great example because depending on which year of Monza and what car you're racing in, the first curb you can absolutely smack. The second curb you can't really go on at all. And then the final curb, you can pretty much launch it over. Again, but that depends on what car and what year of Monza you're racing. So, the laser scan here being pretty modern around the Templar speed. Kind of can't really do too much on the first and the second curb. The third curb, you do see a couple of drivers smack a little bit on the exit.
Hey, doesn't stop them from trying, does it? You give them an inch, they'll try and take a yard. That's the reality of sports, and no different in racing. Now, I believe that is one of the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland liveries that we were
Chalk white.
referring to. And yeah, I was going to say, it's either mode grey or chalk white. It's one of the two.
That's chalk white. That's definitely chalk white. Mode grey was a lot flatter than that.
Was it? Okay, you have a better memory of colour than me, clearly.
Well, that's how I knew that Williams livery was brown and not orange. But that's definitely
Except you were wrong.
white.
Except you were wrong. Blatantly wrong.
They changed the livery. We're not going
because
back
of how
to this,
blind you were.
No, because of how wrong they were.
Go dig up the messages from Williams Sim Racing Management that would say Lewis was wrong.
But they changed the livery.
We're getting off on this cop.
Did they or did they not?
This is
a proper argument. This is.
Have you ever seen in the real world where they make these color swatches so that, you know, when you tell someone that you're printing a shirt in this color, this is exactly what it's going to be? Have you ever seen those swatches?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need that for sim racing cars, apparently.
Yeah, and it would show that it was brown. But that's fine. We've got a little bit of a three-way run here in this practice session. Obviously, we've got two Mouse drivers. There was a double retirement for Mouse in the previous race. Dennis Schulliger didn't even get to the race start, and Moritz Lerner disconnected on the opening lap. It was left to Max Benneker to go on to win. They'll need to fight back here. Well, the other two Mouse drivers, and I mean, look, they've definitely got the speed to win. That's the important bit, both Schulliger and Lerner. But losing points in the first race is not easy to come back from.
No, that's the problem. It's a short format and no drop races, right? So you need to score, at least you need to finish in all three of them, I would argue. And so qualifying about to get underway, that will be important. You can see them a little bit of a GT3 pack. It's a TC sandwich, Mouse either side, nice. As they head out of Ascari. Knew you'd like that. Factually correct there.
Factually correct sandwich analogy. If you call this a Mouse sandwich, you are in fact wrong. You don't need to name a sandwich after it's bread. So you are absolutely spot on. It is a TC sandwich with Mouse bread, and one that David Sabero is probably just eyeing up, where he's maybe losing out some time to the Mouse drivers, thinking, right, oh, they're actually a little bit quicker here. They're a little bit quicker there. Maybe I'm a little bit faster here and there over them. So you'll have to wait and see.
Is that a touch of the brakes from the BMW leading that pack halfway down the straight just to try and mess around with some of the games? Who knows? That's one of the things that you use practice for, the opportunity to be able to test out different things. Comment on one of our chats, by the way. Let us know if you have any questions. Arjuna Kankipati alongside of Lewis McLeod. Monterey definitely has the best golf at Pebble Beach. Well, not disagreeing with that. Pebble Beach is a great golf course, but
I've played Pebble Beach. Look at this guy.
And I almost got my first and still only hole-in-one at the 7th. I was about half a foot away. Anyway, won't get into that. Pebble Beach is not actually the best golf course in Monterey. That's my personal opinion. Spyglass is better.
I was going to say, you think Spyglass is better? Really?
Spyglass is better, yeah. As a golf course, yes.
Really?
As an experience, Pebble's probably better. If you're not a golf enthusiast, then you probably won't enjoy Spyglass as much because it's going to beat you up a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I was going to say Spyglass is too narrow for me, mate.
Exactly, that's the main problem with it. If you're not playing well, it's not a fun day.
Yeah, no, that's a no from me. Either way, speaking of things that aren't so narrow, this is a little bit more Pebble Beach around Monza. It's a little bit more wide and open. You've got a little bit more to play with around the Templar speed. Qualifying about to get underway, and Darren McCormack is not here. So the low Virtus Pro driver of Kevin Ellis Jr. Into battle around the Templar speed, and we'll take a little bit of a quick look on a ride around this historic race circuit.
Bumpy run down to turn one as well, isn't it, sometimes? But sticks on the left side just to open up the entry into the corner. Mounts enough of the curb to also help rotate the car. That's crucial. You've got to understand the right amount of curb usage that minimizes the distance but also helps and doesn't hurt the car. And then a simple run out through Curva Grande, where, there were no Jamil Motorsport signs on the left-hand side, but then on the brakes into the Roger.
Flick it over that curb on the left-hand side, flick it over the curb on the right. You can use quite a bit of the Roger. You kind of want to use up to your halfway on the right-hand tyres onto that second curb. The first curb you can absolutely smack through there. Into the second Lesmo, where you, depending on how confident you are, that inside curb, you either have to smack it hard or just guide yourself in it. If you're half-heartedly on it, you're probably going to spin the rear end around, or you're going to understeer off the circuit. You have to be fully committed to whichever line you're taking through there. Into Ascari, get that big throw through the first part. They've actually just abused all parts of it, all sides of it. A little bit less so in that middle part, but plenty on the entry and exit.
Not losing too much time in those first two sectors, but at this level, 3/10 in total, it's going to be significant. It might be the difference between the front row and the third row at the end of the day. Just one final corner as the Aston Martin burbles towards the line with Max Benneker 2/10 clear of Dennis Schoniger. Moritz Lohner making it all three of the Maus BMWs at the front, and then Kevin Ellis Jr. jumping in front of the Mercedes.
Yeah, absolutely, and not looking so great for anyone that's not in a Maus BMW at the moment, does it, in that GT3 category? Benneker once again on top as he was after the race at Spa, so continuing on his fantastic speed. Here's Harpler across the line, the Cup category going away of Code Nikola Latkovsky at the moment. Kimi Harpler goes up into second position. Do believe we saw some 49s on the board yesterday, and we do see one from Maximilian Den. And Nico Nuninghoff, exactly the same as yesterday, has qualified down the orders at a 52.749, has definitely had a slow down penalty on that lap after exceeding track limits.
And what did we say, Lewis? That one of the only things he really had to do was avoid the penalties, and he's failed to do so, as we'll see one of the final runners head to the line. A great time from Maximilian Den, and both him and Cody showing the consistency so far that will put them in contention. Kaya Angermeyer just in front of Ray in terms of our creators as well. Very close battle between the two of them, Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to have a great fight in the Cup category, whether it is overall, whether it is once again in our influencer category in that. I do think that, as we kind of had yesterday, as much as we give them a lot of the talk in the GT3 category with the R1 competitors, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit less interested in them. I'm like, yeah, cool. We know the form on them. We know that the BMW is running pretty quick at the moment, and they are flying around these circuits, and that's great. We are getting some battle in them. It's the Cup category that I can't take my heart to. We have some absolutely excellent fights in it, and it's one of those ones like we've completed a race. We've got the form book a little bit where we've got 3 drivers. I couldn't tell you which one's going to win. And do you remember that the prize, the track day at Hockenheimring, only goes to one of them?
Yes, I have no idea. And again, if Nico Nuninghoff had qualified towards the front, it's hard not to put him as one of our contenders. But instantly, one poor qualifying, and he's on the back foot and may not, quite frankly, have a chance to fight his way back in, Lewis. So it's a very difficult place that he's put himself in at this point, and so I'm very excited. I think that this Cup fight, both with the creators and with our community members, they are going to put on a show. That's not the type of show they're looking to put on, though, right there. No,
but I will say, as much as Nuninghoff has not qualified particularly well there, what did he do yesterday? Basically, every time he qualified poorly, he was still able to work his way back up towards the podium, and I think this will be no different. I think he'll be able to find his way back up somewhat, and I think he's still going to be a moderate contender here. So, yes, qualifying's not great. I would say this would be the circuit that I'd rather qualify poorly at rather than Hockenheimring, even though we have seen you can overtake a Hockenheimring, you can work your way forward at Hockenheimring. Realistically, it's, like I say, it could be worse for Nuninghoff, but it's not great.
Definitely. Look how fast he is seemingly in practice, though, as he's
55.8 is pretty bad, mate.
Well, in terms of managing traffic and stuff, it's still a reflection of your ability to put stuff together. Sobrero's had a bit less traffic than Moritz Lohner, though. That's 6 seconds difference on pace. Yeah, I always find it interesting that we always put this warm-up session between the qualifying and the race running, so they get enough time, Lewis, to kind of switch their gears.
Yeah, it's one of those ones for it's more done for a back-end type of thing, i.e. results and how RENNSPORT runs. Doesn't really like going from qualifying straight into the race, so it's more for that purpose rather than anything majorly for the drivers. But still, for the drivers, you kind of have to reset yourself just a little bit. But no one's learning anything. No one's picking anything off from that warm-up session, thinking, "Oh my God, I've unlocked that extra little bit." Whatever pace you've unlocked has come from the all of the practice and the work that you put in before going into qualifying.
And qualifying officially done and dusted. Lewis, that is a beautiful sight. GT3 cars, Porsche Cup cars lined up at Monza and ready to go racing.
And thankfully, because they've picked slightly different liveries, you can see there in the Cup category, all the way down there, you'd have to squint a little bit to see the acid green of Nico Nuninghoff, the black and what looks to be yellow Porsche, about 3 rows from the rear end of the field. One driver who's looking to try and win in that Cup category. Got a lot of work ahead of him if he's able to do so. In the GT3s, though, you can see there the black wing mirrors of Max Benneker, the blue wing mirrors of, I believe, Dennis Schoeneger, and the red wing mirrors of Moritz Lohner, just ahead of Kevin Ellis Jr. and David Sobrero. The lights go out and we're racing once again here at Monza, and it was a good start from our top 3 who just go straight into single file. No major shocks there. It is Moritz Lohner diving straight down the inside of Dennis Schoeneger on the race in the first corner into defence, and then goes back on the attack of his teammate, but straight to the outside comes Kevin Ellis Jr., who fires his way past 1 and maybe even 2. Superb move coming in from Kevin Ellis Jr. Cody Nikolakowski is the race lead, and there is a spin, I believe, from Harpala.
Indeed, in that slightly white highlighted Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland livery. This is the replay from up above as they just all concertina in through the corner. Oh, he gets through the first part safely and then just pitched around as the contact comes in from the side. And unfortunate for him as he drops down to the tail end of the field.
Yeah, that was just a little bit awkward, unfortunately. I do think that's sometimes just how it goes around Monza. It does get a little bit easy to trip up over each other in that opening chicane, as thankfully for our GT3 competitors, none of them had a particularly poor start. Oh, okie dokie, that's not the commentator's curse. That's another issue for Moritz Lohner, I believe. I think that might be some form of wheel failure or a disconnection from the race. He should be out of this one once again. So 2 times he's not even made it through to the end of the first lap. What I was going to say for those competitors in the GT3 category, none of them have dropped behind any of the Cup drivers. I would have to work their way through, like we saw from Jack Keithley yesterday.
Yeah, crucially, and I think that, by the way, will be the last we probably see of Moritz.
Yeah.
Not expecting him or Dara to join us for the final race of 3 at the Hockenheimring, and a beautiful sight of Porsche's, a big send in front of Nico Nuninghoff, who's done a good job to slowly pick his way through the pile. Pick one more around the outside and try and side draft them on the run towards the line. He's not totally split off from the leaders just yet, Lewis, as we close the first of 9 laps. These races estimated to be about 15 minutes. They're side by side for the lead as well.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's Maximilian Den, it's Cody Nikolakowski, Kaya Ankermeyer, who are all a little bit separated from the group. Not massively, as Nuninghoff is getting caught up here, and he got a little bit of a tap as well. But yeah, an awkward bit of contact, unfortunately, has allowed Sopridge to pull out. It was Ray he was making a little bit of contact with, and Jeremy Pack was also into him just a touch. Nico Nuninghoff needing to make some progress pretty quickly here. We'll see this once again from up above. So he tries to get to the outside. There was Sopridge cutting over the inside. Then there was contact between himself and Ray. And then a little bit of a look coming in, of course, from behind.
Dennis Schoeneger gets a rear view mirror and camera field with the front end of the Aston Martin as Ellis Jr. tries to urge Schoeneger closer to Benneker, who's starting to break away, and that's a lunge up the inside. Was never really going to work. They'll both squeeze through the gravel through Ascari. Schoeneger's going to be spun around, Ellis Jr. slides through to second. David Sobrero still in third, but you can tell they realize that the ramifications of contact in this competition very less significant than if this was typical R1 race control.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say I didn't know if maybe Dennis Schoninger had moved a little bit over the nose of Kevin Ellis Jr. Kevin Ellis Jr. was not there at all. So, yeah, that one, I think if we were in some serious racing competition here, and then we had drive-throughs and stuff in the race, that would be what they would classify as a slam dunk for Kevin Ellis Jr.
Yeah, someone in our Twitch chat said that Dennis turned in, but no, Dennis had to turn in. Kevin was trying to open a door that was never going to be opened. Very well done, though, by both Nico and Ray, although jinxed it right there, bounces over the inside curb, and Nico Nuninghoff speared off into the gravel, and well, that could spell his chances of a track day at the Hockenheimring to go down in smoke.
Yeah, that was a bit awkward, unfortunately, for Nico Nuninghoff, who's once again the bad qualifying has come to rear its ugly head. Just got a bit of a brush on the rear end, and unfortunately there, basically ended the race in the gravel trap. I'm pretty sure that would have been a bit of an alt F4 after that, thinking, no, do you know what, I'm out, see you in a bit, have fun. I'll go and go do something else. That was that. Look, it's frustrating, but it's qualifying that's cost him. And so now it does seem as though this battle in the Cup category becomes a two-horse race between Maximilian Den and Cody Nikola Latkowski.
And Kaya Angermeyer right there. We started the final event off, Lewis, talking about his speed and how much he impressed us yesterday. This is why, because he was able to show this kind of pace, and we kind of expected that while Ray had speed, it wasn't going to be this quick. And that first race, it was a great fight between the two of them. And Kaya Angermeyer has got a great view of this fight between the two most likely contenders in our community class.
And obviously what a great drive it was from Maximilian Den in the previous race to close up for the top two. Now that he started the race in this position, can he see it towards the checkered flag? Cody Nikola Latkowski will keep him under pressure here. And we'll just remain close, we'll play the long game. I did say in an interview with Cody yesterday, if you joined that one after the semi-final one appearance from him, where he was one of the drivers to win a race and also go through into today's action. Basically, we were talking about his experiences in sim racing. Typically, you would find Cody Nikola Latkowski racing in some pretty high-level competitions over on Race Room. Great to see him over here on RENNSPORT, effectively following in the footsteps of the likes of a Moritz Lerner, who's got plenty of experience out in that category as well, and jumped over pretty successfely here onto RENNSPORT as one of the top pilots for Cody Nikola Latkowski. He said he was like, oh, I'd be really happy with, like, you know, first, second, third, something like that tomorrow. I'm sat there being like, nah, this cat can win, and he is in contention.
How aggressive does he want to go, though? Because I think he will surely feel as though with... So now I have to go... I didn't write it down, Lewis. Did Maximilian Den finish second or third? I need to remind myself now.
I was going to write down. We're both in the same category.
All right, give me 1 second. But while I go and look at that, if I remember, Cody still held on to second, in which case, finishing second here and then winning the next race should be enough for him to win that prize. And so, again, we never want drivers to not force the issue, but you're caught in the two minds, right? Do you force the issue, or much like he had with Nico Nuninghoff when he couldn't find his way forward past a car that was blocking in the perfect places, just sit behind, grab the points, and hope you qualify slightly better in the final race?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's playing a dangerous game, because you're then expecting to have a perfect qualifying at Hockenheim. You're expecting to win at Hockenheim. I don't think you can expect that. I think you have to go into this thinking, look, there's only 3 races. I need to win basically every race. Every single race. You can't be sitting there going, oh, well, I can take second in this one, that'd be all right. No, second is not all right. Second is opening yourself up to losing this competition. It's all the whole first and losing stuff. If this was an 18-race championship and he was He'd started off quite comfortably. I'd say, yeah, maybe you would sit behind, but there's only 3 races, and there's only 1 prize, and it's only a bit of banter. I get the feeling that Cody Nikolakowski, he's just going to wait until the last lap, and I think then he'll go for something pretty unique based on Hockenheimring yesterday.
No, I think that's where this changes, right? It's not a super serious top-level esports competition. It's not like these drivers aren't going to race each other with respect. I mean, haven't seen anything untoward so far today. But again, like you say, the willingness to go for it's a little bit more. When you say, though, you can only look at number 1 and winning races. Lewis, you kind of remind me of our good friend Crimsix when he jumped over into R1, and the phrase that he kind of dubbed, and Will Chadwick picked up and ran with it, was delusional confidence, the ability to believe in yourself at all times, which I can understand that, but I would slightly also say, especially in motorsport, right, 19, 20 cars will go onto track and only one of them can be the winner. This isn't the Premier League, this isn't the NFL, where there's 10 games a weekend, 10 teams can win, only 1 winner out on track. Yes, I know multi-class is an exception, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I have also seen it in chat that basically saying that Cody might be being a little bit too patient here. I don't think so. I think there is full knowledge that final lap of the race, you have at least 3 opportunities, potentially 4 opportunities, to go for a move down into turn 1, down into the Roger, into Ascari, and into the Parabolica. And they're all pretty solid attempts for moves. I don't think Cody Nikolakowski is being too patient here. I think he's just playing the long game. This is a driver that knows how to win in competition, knows how to win some pretty big races against some pretty big drivers. I think he will be calmly in control of things right now. And if I were leaning towards anyone at the moment who'd be the favourite for the race, as much as Maximilian Den is the race leader, Cody Nikolakowski is the one with the control as to when he goes for that move. I think he is playing a perfect game thus far. Of course, we'll finish the pre-ante-penultimate lap. We'll head on to the ante-penultimate lap, then the penultimate lap, then the final lap. So there's plenty of time for him to find that move.
Well, he's not been given a chance, right, at the end of the day. If he was to make any moves, he's going to be costing them time. And I think he recognizes that Kaya Angermeyer has been within touching distance. And I think it's going to be very interesting with 3 laps left to go. Dennis Schoninger could end up giving Cody the chance. If he ends up passing them in a spot where it compromises the race leader, does Cody see that as the chance to follow suit? Because right now he could pop out of line and get to the inside, but it would involve a drag-out fight that I don't think he's ready for just yet.
Yeah, look, again, just play that long game. He'll go for a move. Sometimes I always feel that leaving it till the last lap is potentially leaving it too late. But you know, this is Monza. It is the king of leave it until the last lap. Be in the race at the end of it, and then you've got a chance of winning. Kaya Angermeyer, every lap they do this kind of like, they do a little bit of bump drafting and stuff. They're pulling away from Angermeyer behind, meaning that if they were to go side by side for basically the entire lap, that won't happen, but let's say they did, they would probably not bring Angermeyer back into it because they're building the gap now. They do have Dennis Schoninger in the Maus BMW to work his way past, and I'm sure he'll be firing his way through pretty soon. If I'm these two, I wouldn't really fight it, but then obviously Cody Nikolakowski doesn't want to just let Schoninger go. And the straight line speed of the Porsche Cup car around here is, again, for those GT3s, quite annoying.
Can he spot the chance now? This is where the speed in a straight line for the GT3 Cup cars is going to make it a bit more interesting. And yes, finally Cody sees his chance, doesn't want to let Dennis Schoninger pass just yet, and so into that final Parabolica, the Curva Alboreto, the tighter line for Cody, getting a shove from the BMW as they work off the corner, and that's going to help him get the shorter distance and take the race lead.
Yeah, obviously Dennis Schoninger is going to sit right onto the rear end of Cody Nikolakowski, who didn't really have an opportunity but go for the move, courtesy of the push coming in from the BMW behind. So we have Cody Nikolakowski, the race leader. Maximilian Den flashed the lights, and he's basically saying to the BMW, get out of the way, get out of this battle mush. we want to have a fight for the race lead that now sees Cody Nikolakowski in the pound seat at the front. That BMW will check out into the distance by the end of this lap, but for the next few straights, Latkovski will be getting a solid slipstream.
And roles reverse, because Maximilian Den now has a chance to try and choose what he wants to do. Now that was very, very interesting, because I thought for a second Cody was indicating with the brake lights, the body language, that he was trying to drop back into line, but no. And I think through that sequence, they cost each other a bit of time as well.
Yeah, potentially, but like I say, it's all starting to build a little bit in this group now. The GT3 category separated massively. Max Benneker looking for back-to-back victories here in the GT3 category. Kevin Jr., David Sobrero, second and third. It does seem as though Benneker is the one very much in control, and save retirement maybe at the final round of the Hockenheimring. Potentially that top prize might go the way of Benneker, but here in the Cup category, things are less clear. Cody Nikolakowski in the race lead ahead of Maximilian Den. Will Den get an opportunity to steal away the race lead, though, on that final lap of the race? We head down towards the Parabolica. And when we get back down into T1, the Retovilo, there could be an opportunity here for Den to get back through.
And as the points stand right now, I think Max Benneker is effectively one hand on the wheel of the car on the track day at this point already. Here comes the look from Maximilian Den. This Cup class is very much between these two. The middle line slightly less bumpy on the brakes, and so is that going to help Maximilian Den, who will get left on the outside as they work through the second part of this chicane. Tidy exit for the both of them, and it's a drag race down to the Roger.
There we go. We said they might go side by side for the entirety of the lap. Let's see if that does actually hold any fruit at the moment as they fire their way around Curva Grande. Cody Nikolakowski's got the inside line. He's going to get a bit sendy going down into the Roger. He is going to go into full commitment, and they are going to go side by side. But Maximilian Den is able to hang on against Cody Nikolakowski, who had a terrible run off the Roger. He will have a couple of extra opportunities, though. The run down into Ascari might not bear any fruit, but the run into Parabolica may just do it.
If things stand as they are provisionally, Maximilian Den would be 1 point clear of Cody Nicola heading into that final race, and so it is basically between the two of them. The winner will be heading to the Hockenheimring, but one more corner for our race leader.
Maximilian Benneker will come through the final corner then to win 2 from 2 here. And at the Holiday Crossplay Event, it is looking like it's going to go the way of Benneker, who was almost completely absent from yesterday, but he's clearly got the speed and the consistency and the ability to stay in the race here in our big prize, the final day for us here on Friday.
That's the most important thing, it would seem, just the ability to stay out of trouble. What a great battle between these two, and one more chapter to be written at the Hockenheimring. But Maximilian Den, third in race 1, first in race 2, and now in control of the points in the community class in the crossplay event.
Yeah, and for Nico Nunninghoff, he'll be effectively out of the battle then in that cup category. For Angmeyer, I think he was ahead at the previous round, and at Spa-Francorchamps, with him being ahead here, I'm pretty sure that's basically that one secured, is it not?
You might be right.
I don't think, by the way, because I am seeing a little bit in chat, I don't think him being patient is what cost him the victory there. I think I just think that's just that. I think it was just a better card played by Maximilian Den. I think that's all it was. Yes, you could say he was too patient, but he was still going side by side down into the Roger. That was the point that he made the mistake. It was there that he was, nothing to do with patience. He was just a little bit too aggressive on the outside, slid out the rear, and lost all the time.
Yeah, I guess at that point he didn't really have much choice, because you sit behind, you get a slightly compromised run out through the Lesmos, and then suddenly you find yourself out of time, right? So had to go for it potentially at that point. Felt he had to go for it and didn't swing his way. That is racing. Just one final race to go. It will be another 15 minutes, probably about 10 laps, if I remember correctly, at the Hockenheimring, Lewis. And once more, our stakes relatively clear, I would say, at this point in time.
Look, yeah, when it comes to even in the GT3s, a little bit with Benneker, although he doesn't necessarily need to, but certainly in that cup category in what could be quite the tight fight between Den and Latkovsky, it's a must-win race. Now, those were the two, I do believe, that went side by side going through the Sachs curve, the stadium section yesterday. A brilliant move from Koenigsegg Latkovsky to the outside, and then the inside for basically the final couple of corners. I'm not sure he needs to pull that kind of action out again, but certainly top prize is up for grabs for the pair of them.
Absolutely. And I do think we will see plenty of action in that final sector of the Hockenheimring. It's a track that doesn't necessarily get talked about enough in its modern format. Often we talk about the olden days blasting into the forest, but it still has got plenty of great racing to be shown in its modern and current layout. Nico Nuninghoff, though, let's go back to him for just a second, Lewis, because the one thing we said he had to make sure he avoided was troubles in qualifying. Well, they found him in race number 2.
Yeah, and that will go the way of Max Den and Koenigsegg Latkovsky, and basically the entire field. Going into Hockenheimring, you've got to qualify well. You can't be affording slowdown penalties. That's what's cost Nico Nuninghoff here this evening. A poor qualifying, having to battle through the middle of the pack. You could sit there and be like, well, that was the part that he messed up. That was the part that he didn't do cleanly. That was the part that caused him the issue. But I would maintain that it was him being there in the first place that caused the problem. It's that lack of solid qualifying lap and foundation of starting grid position that caused the main problem.
And here at the Temple of Speed with the one-lap qualifying format that R1 has very much used and had its detractors and people that like that, right? There's people that find the pressure a bit too much, people that say, you know what, I like it when I don't have to worry about going out there, doing 3 laps and going off and away. Just watching in chat to see if there was any other messages about that second race, but I'm not seeing anything. So let's start to look forward, Lewis, to race number 3. And so our top 2, it's pretty simple, right? It's between them, but they can't afford to drop too far down through the running order in the community class. In the creator class, I think it's pretty simple. If Kaya Angermeyer has won the first 2 races, well, I think you said this before, he has won the event here in our creator class as well.
I think the only thing that could maybe change that is retirement for Kaya Angermeyer. So can't afford that. Cannot afford a technical issue. Basically, see the checker flag, first or second in that category, and it should be job done for Kaya Angermeyer. And either way, I think Angermeyer will want to go out there and win this race. And I think had some really good speed at Hockenheimring yesterday, if I remember correctly.
Yes, no, all 3 races he was pretty rapid yesterday. And so I was a bit surprised to see him slightly off the pace in the first race at Spa-Francorchamps. Haven't been given any word, by the way, when we were practicing qualifying for that 3rd race, but hoping we'll get word soon. In the meantime, Lewis, I guess it's a chance for us to talk about what happens tomorrow. The VCO Esports Racing League, 3 consecutive days of RENNSPORT for you and me, and I believe at the track vote likely coming to a close in the next 16 hours or so. We are racing Road Atlanta with the Praga R1s starting at about 6 p.m. CET on the VCO Twitch channel.
Yeah, and those cars are going to create some wild racing going down into, 10A and 10B, where that, look, if you want to hear about complaints of corner numbers, it may well be one of the greatest racing tracks in the world. Love a bit of Road Atlanta. It may be in most people's top 10s, some people's top 5s, but my goodness me, how can you go through turn 1, up the hill into turn 2 and turn 3, and down the hill through probably about 5 or 6 corners, and those are counted as just 2 turns? I don't understand. It's baffling.
At least at Road America, I can understand the argument that gets given, right? Which is that marshal posts are where it's used, but I don't understand how you can even conceptualize what we have at Road Atlanta, which, like you say, one of the greatest racing tracks in the world, but it loses points just for the way it numbers its corners. It goes from turn 7 and then suddenly the next time you're on the brakes, you're at turn 10.
10A, yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense, okay?
It's because they'll sit there and be like, yeah, but there's a couple of kinks. But it's like, but also I have a problem with an A and a B, 10A and 10B. I'm like, just 10 and 11, mate. Just go for it. It's fine. Numbers exist for a reason. But this is why, if you go and look at a lot of the great racing tracks that everyone loves, if I ask you what turn 13 is at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, or turn 45 on the Nordschleife, or turn 6 at Bathurst, do you know what they are? No. Of course you don't.
No idea. I was trying to think, actually, at Bathurst in particular.
They got names.
So what turn is the cutting at Bathurst? Is it technically turn 4 or turn 3?
It's turn... Who cares? It should technically be 4.
Excuse me, sorry.
Someone went launching in the background there.
Yes, yep.
No, it should technically be 4. The apex for the cutting should be 4, because you've got turn 1, then you've got turn 2 at Griffiths Bend, and then it really is that first bit. I think that you would be 3 into 4. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's definitely 2 corners, the first left-hander and then the second actual hairpin. So yeah, we are off topic.
Bathurst is the greatest racing track on planet Earth.
It's one of the greatest racing tracks on planet Earth.
It's the greatest. Exactly. We both agree it's the greatest racing track on planet Earth.
Well, have you been there?
Yeah.
We'll need to fix that at some point. They've all gone wide at the hairpin, by the way. That's a little bit awkward. Can't do that in qualifying, not because it's going to invalidate your lap time, just because it's slow. That's about it.
Yeah, not ideal. We've got 3 minutes and 40 seconds though for them to go round, and one of the things here at the Hockenheimring, counter to what we get at Monza and at Spa, where the circuit length is, generally speaking, it's too long for them to really get round twice in the practice session. Around here, pretty much everyone, because of the shorter track length comparatively, around here everyone should be able to get at least one proper lap time, one clear run from the start finish to the start finish again, and so they'll get a little bit more of a benchmark as to where they are. But I'm pretty sure they know what they already know what the good times are in their own respective category. They know what times they need to be aiming for. They know where they're at already mentally around here, and I'm sure it's just getting ready for the race, isn't it? And those big runs, especially around this parabolica into the hairpin.
Absolutely. They all have done enough laps around these 3 tracks in particular to probably drive it with their eyes closed. And that actually does sound like a challenge at some point that we should do. I know that...
We've already done it.
Have they?
Yeah, we did it. Well, obviously we did. You weren't there.
Shows how much I pay attention.
Well, they did blindfolded and guided, so they would get. So I think
they had a co-driver basically.
Yeah, it was Darren McCormack and Cube Brzezinski. It might have been James Baldwin and Eamon. He surely wouldn't have been. Eamon would have been swearing. But yeah, they were guided round by their teammate. Which is wildly entertaining. Can confirm they did crash a lot.
Yeah, that sounds great. Were they racing wheel to wheel or just?
No, just driving. The goal was to complete a lap, mate. If they were trying to race wheel to wheel, we'd never complete a lap.
It'd be hilarious. They'd be telling each other to drive into each other.
Exactly. They'd be like, right, line up, slam the throttle down now, and it'll just be drive straight into the car ahead. It would be hilarious. It'd be entertaining for about 2 corners, but the sim racing drivers, they like doing it again and again and again. We'd already been bored of it by that point.
Yeah, for us, we get sick of it after a while, but these drivers have the stubbornness is sometimes the word I think that's fair to be used, to sit in their rigs and do thousands of laps to prepare for a track. It does take a certain level of resilience. They would have no problem crashing into each other over and over again if that's what we told them they were allowed to do. So Max Benecke, I think, much like you were saying with Kaya Angermeyer, it's relatively simple. Stay out of trouble, finish the race, and he likely wins in the R1 class. Got Kaya Angermeyer, same thing. Finish the race, stay out of trouble, and you are the winner of the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event. It is all to play for, though, in the community class, where qualifying in 40 seconds is going to be important. Stay out of trouble. Make sure you get a good lap on the board.
Absolutely. Like I say, we've only got about 30 seconds before this qualifying session begins, so not too long before we'll find out who could be ending this evening from pole position, ending this evening with a great opportunity to take the victory. Like I say, I'm curious. I'm curious to see if Moritz Lohner can get through a race. Unfortunately, well, to get him for a first lap, actually. He's certainly having some form of technical issue this evening, which was not going his way yesterday, because he had a cracking evening yesterday.
Yeah, we had some fun yesterday, that's for sure. In our 2 semi-final groups. Now combined, the top 50% from each of those groups gets to go racing. Moritz Lohner is technically still shown on that board, so we'll wait and see.
That's McCormack.
Yeah. Looking at the full complement of 6 GT3 cars as we get ready to go for the Super Pole S qualifying session.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, this is the circuit where Darren McCormack, 2.5, probably rapidly approaching 3 years ago, became the first double final winner in RENNSPORT history. So that's something, I guess. As we'll see Max Benneker on a ride around this circuit. That was quite wide at T1, but they're so well versed with the track limits on the exit of the opening corner. Has everyone else remained within track limits through there? It's so easy to blast over.
Find yourself just on the wrong side. Benneker loses. Is that 85 thousandths in the first sector? I'm guessing to one of his teammates in the BMWs. That is Schoninger, Moritz Lohner have, alongside of Benneker, swept the top 3 in qualifying so far. That was very tidy out through the hairpin as we sit driver's eye view on the run in towards the Mercedes-Benz Arena, and then, of course, up towards the stadium. Onto
the brakes, we flick through the left-hander at that Mercedes Arena section. Now the right-hander on the way out of the arena, now towards the stadium as they go through Mobile 1. First sector lose a little bit, second sector pretty much bang on. I do think the other drivers are around this point of the circuit, onto the brakes and into the Sachs curve. We saw brilliant racing yesterday between, of course, 2 of our cup categories, Cody Nikolakowski, trying to get that move and steal that win away. Benneker into the final corner. Pick from Schoninger at a 136.9. Makes it 4/10 clear of Ellis Jr. and David Sobrero. Bit of time lost in sectors 1 and 3. Benneker makes it all back up in sector 2. He's 13 thousandths quicker than his teammate Dennis Schoninger, although Moritz Lohner does not hook it all up together. And the Virtus Pro Aston Martin split the trio of Maus BMWs. Meanwhile, in the Porsche Cup class, once more Cody Nicola at the top. Maximilian Den 11 thousandths off the pace, and Nico Nuninghoff is able to put it together. 4th on the board for him. Yeah, Kaya Angermeyer as well, 5th position, about a second off, but importantly ahead of Ray in the influencers race as well. So, like I said, basically just needs to finish this race. I think you should be pretty comfortable with that one, although if you believe the commentator's curse, then maybe I've ruined it for him. But if you've heard me on broadcast before, you know my opinion on that. It's rubbish. Yeah, but we know that you're wrong a lot, so... No, I'm not on this one. I've been right today quite a few times, actually. You have been right today. What corner we were looking at, yeah. Yeah, but even a broken clock's right twice. I knew you were going to say that, but... yeah. You've been right more than twice is what you should have said next, but I'll say it for you. You've got the drag strip off on the right, of course. Area for seemingly plenty of donuts then just off to the side as we look at this great stadium section. Love the rallycross round here. So good. I like it. I just like a bit of rallycross. Do always put on a good show, don't the rallycross machines? Yeah, when they're smacking into each other, because that's kind of it's one of those ones of like motorsport in general is a non-contact sport, right? And in touring cars and rallycross, it's a bit more acceptable. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There is the rules of engagement. For example, if you have raced a lot of touring cars, it's not just, you can't just punt anyone out of the way. That's not how touring cars works. And as much as we classify it as door banging, effectively, if you're on the outside of a corner, you can like almost turn in a little bit early and kind of lean on them a little bit towards the apex. That's fine. Little bit of leaning on each other, rubbing is racing and all that. Rallycross is a bit more door banging. It is a bit more launch in, smack them out of the way, give it a good laugh. There are still rules of engagement. You can't just punt someone completely out of the way, but I do remember, I did watch a lot of Rallycross in the mid-2010s. There was so much good stuff with the World Rallycross Championship. So many good drivers, you know, your Hansen, Solberg taking part in it, of course, Ken Block as well.
Oh.
Yeah, Ogier doing some, yeah. No, honestly, there's so many good names.
That was peak Rallycross as well.
Yeah.
Then when they decided to put it behind a paywall, and quite frankly, as soon as they changed the commentary team, that's also when things started to go downhill. And then they tried electrifying the cars, and it was only really Travis Pastrana, excuse me, and Nitro Circus that, in my mind, brought a bit more intrigue to Rallycross. Did you see they brought Rallycross cars to Crandon in the real world this year?
Did they?
Did an exhibition race at Crandon?
Did they? Wow.
They did.
That was exciting.
It was very cool. The coolest Rallycross track, in my opinion, though, is the Nitro Circus one, where the one with 3 jumps, right? They had the big tabletop jump, the smaller one, and then I don't know. I love the concept of offering drivers different lines to go and run. And when I say lines, I mean different parts of the track, kind of like a video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do get that. I need to go and look through the history books now, because there was one thing that I distinctly remember. Was it the World Rallycross Championship, or was it when it was renamed years ago? They did a 4-round championship, right? And I'm pretty sure one of them was it was like an America's round or something like an American round. Guess where it was?
Where?
Silverstone.
Historically known, famously known for being in America.
I feel like I really need to go and look this up now, because I'm not convinced they would do something as bold and as dumb as that. But I will return to you.
I mean, my favorite clip, to be fair, of Rallycross, we're very off topic. X Games, Colin McRae rolling a car and then going on to finish it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just legendary. Colin was great. These drivers hoping to avoid rallycrossing. We got very distracted by talking of rallycross cars at the Hockenheimring, but here in the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event, we are about to send 3 drivers in 2026 for a in-person on-track experience at a track day at this famed German motorsports venue. The lights come up, the engines sing, and we go racing for the final time tonight. Good jump from the front row as the Maus teammates instantly slip into line. Watch as Moritz Lohner tries around the outside and then gets bullied out of line. Contact aplenty between the 911 Cup cars as they rumble up to turn 2. One car pushed out wide as they head onto the brakes hard for the first time. And in the thick of the fighting, Nico Nuninghoff is up to 3rd.
Yeah, seeing some, like I say, some solid moves from Nuninghoff, trying to get his way back into some form of contention. Really, it's a must-win race. There's drama behind. It's a must-win race for Nuninghoff, but with Nicola Latkowski and Maximilian Den up there, I don't think it really matters too much. Bit of slipstream coming in as David Sobrero sitting onto the rear end of Moritz Lohner. Now looking back to the outside, we got Lohner trying to get to the inside of Kevin Lesh Jr. A bit of a half spin coming in as Sobrero did get tagged a little bit in a squeeze off the circuit. Darren McCormack and Dennis Schoeniger, ex-teammates, pushing each other around.
Quite literally leaning on one another as well, and Bennica running away at the front of the field. For a second, I thought that Darren McCormack was not in shot, and he was not. And meanwhile, was that a spin from Maximilian Den? It was! Has that just gifted the event to Cody Nicola, who still sat in 2nd? Den regathers things, but all the way down in 15th.
Yeah, that is a big shame. Cody Nikolakowski is now in the driving seat. Just absolutely turned around, tagged and spat out, unfortunately, for Maximilian Den, as Dennis Schoeniger is now out of the race as well in the GT3 category. Max Benneker's got a 1.3 second lead. And so it does seem as though, at present, our winners in each of the categories, the R1 drivers, it would be Max Beneke with 3 races, 3 victories. For Cody Nikolatkovsky in the Cup category in the community race, and Kaya Angermeyer will be the winner in the influencers. As there's a bit of a look to the inside coming in from Lerner, as he disconnected again.
I think so.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I think that was him. Technical issue or something has pulled him off the track. It now means that the Porsche Cup car sweep through with Nuninghoff, Nicola, Schroeder, Angermeyer, Browniger, and the whole train still sitting in queue for the time being. Those drivers not separated out. And did mention that in our Porsche Cup class we've got a mix of Xbox, PlayStation and PC players. And for the final race of the day, it's the PC contenders slowly sneaking their way towards the front. No changes up towards the hairpin, although having said that, looks like Tim Schroeder's had an issue. Yeah,
indeed, bit of a shame. By the way, I've got an answer from you know what I was saying about with the Americas Rally. I have to bring on, I have to fill up the full story. It was the first ever round of the Americas Rallycross Championship. The first ever one happened at Silverstone, which I find hilarious. You were right, by the way. Like you say, a bit of a tag, and unfortunately, a couple of drivers having a few issues ahead. We've seen a couple of them. Darren Sobrero getting tagged down there, a little bit there in the arena section as well. A few drivers struggling with keeping it out of everyone else's car.
I think Kaya Angermeyer was the one that tagged the back of Tim Schroeder, so we're curious if there's any repercussion. Look how close Cody gets it, actually a little bit wide. Or was that Nico Nuninghoff heading off to pit lane? Not quite sure what this is about, but our points leader is released into the lead of the class.
Potential jump start maybe for Nico Nuninghoff, and for Cody Nikolatkovsky, it is going to be a perfect evening then, and a position which I think will see him run away from the rest of the field. I did say Enrico Browninger might do quite well in the final race of the evening. Was pretty pacey around the Hockenheimring yesterday. Once again, is showing that speed. Up to second position. We'll probably have Kaya Angermeyer and Ray PXH right on the rear end, though, because there's not too much separating. For Cody Nikolatkovsky, it is a 2-second lead once again. And I just get the feeling that one might not be catchable for Enrico. Whoa! Oh my goodness! Where did you come from?
Wow, that was interesting, as Kimi Happela was in the middle of 3 wide, and now is going to hold on to 6th as we once more take a look on board. Has to give up the ground on the inside as the big send is made, but he cuts back underneath and very nicely regains that position. Oh my goodness, Cody Nicola now able to break away at the front of the field, but has a long way still to hold on, Lewis, and this has been interesting for us, obviously. We've seen the regular GT3 contenders, and now that we've combined groups 1 and 2 from yesterday's semi-final, only one driver stayed out of trouble consistently in our 3 races today.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm so taken back by the randomly appearing Porsche from Mars. Basically, it just launched itself onto the circuit. That was mental stuff. But Kimi Happela is currently in that 6th position. Bit of pressure on the rear ends. Tim Schroeder just a little bit too far out of reach, I have to say. Big track limits excursion on the exit of turn 1. Not sure if you can develop an app that will stop people from doing that at T1. Count their off tracks.
Oh, well, you know what we can do. It's like training a cat, right? If you want them to stop doing something, we just need to incentivize them to not go out there. Yes, I'm suggesting a shot collar for track limits, yes. If not a spray bottle. You know what? Even better, actually. Whilst you're driving, just spray bottle that automatically will go off as soon as you go outside of the white lines with all 4 wheels. Bam! That would distract you. I mean, that sounds very, very fair to me. As Hakes in 8th position tries to work his way forward. Did know that Ray is having a great race as well to close out the event, and he is right on the tail of Kaya Angermeyer. Remember, Angermeyer doesn't have to win this race between the 2 of them. Does have to stay out of trouble, though. Right, exactly like we said. Angermeyer basically just cannot retire from this race, cannot have too large drama, but at the moment, finishing in the top of the influencers, maybe not going to be the easiest one, because
Ray's right there, and the two of them are going to do battle here with Enrico Broniger just up ahead. A three-way fight for second position in this race in the Cup category, but of course the two behind in third and fourth are the top influencers in this that are doing battle for to be the top influencer in this race, although that one, basically the overall prize has already effectively been sealed from Hockenheimring, provided we can reach the checkered flag.
Yes, and now one more lap until halfway. We are in a spot where Kai's probably feeling somewhat comfortable, as is Cody, as is Maximilian Benneker. All three of our seemingly event winners, Lewis, have once again stayed out of trouble. That is the key thing to what they've been able to achieve today.
Exactly. Well, like I said, there's not long left to go for a lot of these drivers to reach that checkered flag, but there is a look to the inside coming in from Kaya Hockenheimring, and Ray will go for the move as well, but I don't think we'll be able to follow his way through. So Enrico Broniger losing out there, but to be fair, left the door open, and you know, Hockenheimring went for the move. I don't think it's, you know, it wasn't that aggressive. It's absolutely fine, but now it's Hockenheimring who's going out wide. Could be past here, going into Mobile 1.
Gets his way past Enrico Broniger, and now Ray's going to follow suit in towards Mobile 1 curve, shovel up the inside, and nicely done between both of our content creators. I mean, must be a fascinating race from their perspective. Ray with a half-hearted, just nose up the inside as they sweep through Sachs curve. Now with 5 laps left to go, this could be the fight in the Cup class to watch.
Could be. I mean, look, it's not going to be the battle for the race lead because Cody Nikolakowski's gone. He's already set sail. He's already run away. This battle for second, third, fourth and fifth definitely is where we need to keep an eye on, and even that for those behind, they won't be a million miles off the rear end of this fight. The more they fight, the more they drag the rest of them in, the more exciting this battle gets. Like I said, the Cup category has been exciting around here. The last two races we had over yesterday. No reason why this one won't be. Sadly, it won't be for the race lead, but I'm not necessarily sure it was in the second race yesterday, was it?
No, I think you are correct. Plenty of DNFs, by the way, in the Cup class as we cycle towards the tail end of the field, where the recovery drive from Maximilian Den sees him sweep around, although not quite done, in through the parabolic for 13th position. Have the inside up towards the hairpin, but for a driver who entered this third and final race thinking he was in contention for the championship win, slightly disappointed surely with how things have gone, but makes the move stick.
But it's just one of those ones of you've just got to accept it. There was nothing you could do. Absolutely clobbered into the arena section was Maximilian Den, and like I say, it sucks. It's one of those racing things, a little bit awkward. Yes, sure, someone's to blame, but even if they were somehow given the harshest penalty and given a license suspension and were never allowed to race again, well, it's not going to give you the position that you lost back. Oh my goodness me. There's a bit of slowing down happening here. I think Hockenheimring had a bit of a slow exit through the midpoint or the entry into the final corner, and Ray had to jam onto the brakes at a corner where you really don't want to get onto the brakes. Nearly, there was a little bit of contact there between second, third and fourth place with Enrico Broniger.
Slightly wrong-footed, but able to hold on. That's the important thing. Time is ticking away while you can make your passes effectively everywhere around the lap. You don't want to be relying on some of the opportunities late in the lap. They are increasingly desperate as the track narrows down. May not close enough this time by, up towards the hairpin, although Kai Hockenheimring opens the door, tries to get the power down, but the rear end fishtails around. He just about gets off the corner in time.
Yeah, look at this. Again, it's so good to see them be able to follow this close, be able to keep this tight with each other, and they're, again, showing what you can do in this Cup category at the moment here on RENNSPORT. And once again, Kai Hockenheimring is feeling the pressure, wrong-footed once more. Ray's going to go to the outside, picks him off on the exit of the arena section, now going to do it into Mobile 1. Didn't even need to do it into Mobile 1. Ray's already got the position.
Beautiful stuff. This has really checked up the field. Tim Schroeder has joined the 4-car Tonga line as they once more through the stadium section head up towards the final double right-hander, and then what will be 3 laps left to go. Schroeder thought about a look on the inside of Broniger there for a moment through the penultimate corner, and then Ray all the way into the grass, goes for a ride, but will hold on to second on track.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was getting pretty tight down into turn 1 that I almost wasn't sure. It's not really a corner where you see too many overtakes into that opening turn of the race circuit. They only come from side by side on the start-finish straight going into it. That was so close to a bit of drama for Enrico Bruniger, but losing out only to Tim Schroeder, that could have ended really badly.
It could have. Fortunately, it did not. Question in chat, if it finishes like this, will Cody be the one to go to the track day? Answer to that is yes, as they concertina back up for second out of the hairpin. Very tight on the exit to avoid running out wide and losing any of the traction. That's Benneker's 3 seconds clear at the front of the GT3 field as well. David Sobrero trying to close up to Kevin Ellis Jr. in these closing stages, but I mean, this is Oscar-worthy stuff continuing to develop for second in the Cup classes. Ray continues to watch over the shoulder.
Yeah, like I say, it is only the battle though for second, because like I say, Ko Nikolakowski is gone. It seems though whoever takes over the lead of the group seems to not be able to hold firm at the front, to keep the consistency going, to keep the speed up. But it does seem as though that pressure comes in from behind, and it's what has allowed Ray to take over the race, or to take over second position with just a couple of laps left to go. But as soon as he's taken over the lead of that battle, Kaya Ankermeyer, he's right onto the rear end again, filling the mirrors, looking for the opportunity. Again, putting on quite the display around here.
Sobrero closes on Ellis Jr. as they head up to the middle sector once again. They'll have a lap and a half left to run. Sobrero running out of time in the Mercedes to close that advantage, having recently joined up with the Thibaut Courtois esports team. Ray has a good advantage heading onto the Parabolica for the penultimate time. I don't think Kai is going to have a chance to look this time by, and look at the gap behind. Enrico Broniger has been dropped and might be thinking about watching in the rearview mirrors. There's a slip up there. Angermeyer off the track. Not going to be a move from Schroeder just yet, but it's allowed Ray to build up a bit more of a gap to the cars chasing him down.
Just a lap and a half left to go for these drivers in the fight now for third position, as it does seem as though Ray's been able to run away. Sobrero keeping that pressure on, a watchful eye on Kevin Ellis Jr. in the fight for second and third. Max Benneker will take 3 races from 3 wins from 3 races. As he's absolutely dominated this evening, as we kind of expect from a driver at the caliber of Max Benneker, so he'll be able to throw his way around this circuit in real life.
And then I'm sure they'll get the chance to prepare for the event using the sim as well. All sorts of cars available to them. The question really that we haven't even asked once, Lewis, is what cars are they going to be driving at the track day?
My mum's, I actually don't know what car she's got at the moment. Oh, Honda Jazz. Oof. Proper old people car. Go on, give that a go. Launch it.
Well, I saw Yuri Kastorp in our chat earlier. He may not fit in that, right?
Oh, no, Honda Jazz, absolutely fine.
Oh, look at that.
Honda Jazz is quite big, that's why I opened them.
Well, after a less than easy run yesterday, I think Max Benneker could have been forgiven for letting the spirits drop slightly, but while his teammate Moritz Lohner had a trouble-free ride, roles have been reversed here on Fast Friday. Happel is going to sweep past Enrico Broniger for 5th in the Porsche Cup class, all as through the final corner, 3 race wins in 3 races here in the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event Finals. Max Benneker's headed to the Hockenheimring for a track day with the RENNSPORT team.
Yeah, brilliant to see a bounce back from Benneker, but either way, Enrico Broniger's gone out wide and Kimi Happel has been able to sneak away a top 5 in the Cup category. the way things are going to unfold is that Cody Nikolakowski will also be taking a visit to this circuit IRL after a brilliant drive. He said he was only really looking to finish somewhere in the top 3 in today after yesterday's racing. Wasn't sure what pace, what consistency he'd be able to have. Well, as we were talking about it yesterday, it has come to fruition. Cody Nikolakowski is top dog here as he comes through the final corner to win the Hockenheimring as he did yesterday and take top points in the Cup category.
And sometimes patience is rewarded. Ray grabs the win in the Creators Race to close out the final event, but behind him, Kaya Angermeyer grabs the points and will be headed to the Hockenheimring with Cody, with Maximilian, and looking forward to seeing how that all unfolds. Some content to come once the drivers head out onto track, and hopefully no contact to be made. Although we'll get the chance to grab a word with our drivers, hopefully, before we wrap things up. And I think I'm seeing at least one of our drivers already sitting and standing by for a quick chat. So I tell you what, Lewis, why don't you grab our community winner, Cody, already excited about the prospect of the track day at the Hockenheimring.
Yeah, indeed. Cody Nikolakowski spoke to you yesterday. See, I told you you'd have the pace to win, Cody. Come on, man. Superb driving this evening. Kept it out of trouble and a great victory for you. How are you feeling?
I'm ecstatic. You know, I honestly was a little bit unsure there, you know, when Maximilian sent it down into the hairpin on the first lap. And then, you know, the house cards just started tumbling down, and I came out in the end as the one that profited the most out of it. So I'm not sure what happened after that, second, third corner after that hairpin. I think Nico also got a drive-through. I'm not sure for what, but yeah, I don't think it's quite hit me yet about this kind of result. But I have to say, I'm really, really happy to have pulled this off. And yeah, I'm on top of the world right now.
Well, I personally am excited to see you once again fast on another platform as well. We'll see you, I'm sure, in a lot of more RENNSPORT competition in future. We'll also, I'm sure, hear about your exploits. Taking this car, obviously the prize here, taking a track day around the Hockenheimring. That's what you've won for something. That's got to be an incredible thing to take.
Look, the fastest car I've been in till now was a Mazda 6. So
represent same.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I can drive something around a racetrack in real life, anything, I'd be extremely humbled. You know, it'd be one of those experiences of my life that I'll never forget. So, you know, to have won this, to have come first, again, it means the world to me. And, you know, if it's all right with you, I'd just like to take a moment to thank everyone that raced today. You know, it was no mean feat. Getting towards the front, getting towards the sharp, and I have to give props to Maximilian, to Nico. They were fighting me every inch of the way there, and you know, without them, I don't think it would have been a worthy first place personally. So, yeah, unfortunate what happened to them, but you know, thanks to them. Thanks to everyone that's watching. You know, thank you to Rowan over at Faster Disaster Racing Team. You know, he got me into RENNSPORT, and also thank you to Lino over from the RENNSPORT team. But yeah, just thanks to everyone because this really means a lot. I just can't say it enough. Thank you.
Well, Cody, it's been a great couple of days of racing from you. Thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, great to hear from you again.
Cheers, Lewis. Great to hear from you as well.
There we go, Arjuna. Such a positive member of the sim racing community is Cody Nikolakowski, and also teaming up. Mazda 6 represent. That's my car, baby.
I felt slightly uncomfortable with all the positivity in the sim racing world. It's not often that we get that, is it? Here's a quick look at our results from that third race. Benica about 4 odd seconds clear of Ellis Jr., Sobrero and McCormack. Benica, Nicola and Angermeyer. Provisionally our drivers who we can say are headed to the track day at the Hockenheimring. And Lewis, before we wrap things up, obviously heading into the holiday period, lots of exciting racing in 2025, but a chance for everybody to spend some time with friends and family and to recharge their batteries for 2026.
What do you mean? No, it's it's time to get out of school, get out of work, get out of whatever, and sit back and do some more sim racing. That's what it's time for. Let's get ourselves a plan sorted for 2026. That's what we're doing. To be fair, it's time for me for a round of golf. That's all I'm focused on. I think the latest I've played in the year was on New Year's Eve. So it's always golf day.
There we go. Well, for Lewis and myself, Hugo Luis, our producer behind the scenes, thanks for joining us here for the RENNSPORT Holiday Crossplay Event, and congratulations to our 3 worthy winners headed to the Hockenheimring in early 2026. But thanks to everyone for joining us. We'll see you next year for some more great racing action.